Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to If Data Could Talk meets Iron Viz. Yes, we are here with one of the finalists, Pradeep, who's going to take us through his 20-minute Iron Viz 2021 build. I'm Andy Cotgreave, one of the co-hosts of Iron Viz, and I'm joined by my other co-host. Say hi, Keshia.
Yeah.
How are you? How are you, Keshia?
I'm doing well. How about you, Andy?
Very good, thank you. We are coming to you across three very divergent time zones, and Keshia got the short straw today. We don't need to reveal how early it is, but it's very early for Keshia. All right, Pradeep, how are you? Welcome to If Data Could Talk. How's things with you today?
Hello, Andy, and thank you for having me in this show. And things are fine. Things are just settling down after a big, thing.
Yeah, it was a big time during conference. Okay, well, we're going to press play on the video and hope to learn a little bit about what is inside Pradeep's head and where the ideas came from. Everybody ready for play?
Let's do it.
All right. So Pradeep, at the start, you do some setup. So before we get into the build, can you tell us how did you play with the data set you were given, and how did you discover the story that you ended up telling at the end of the build?
Yes. So basically, I was very excited to know this year's Iron Viz data set was about music. The Chartmetric team provided us with a bunch of data set related to 2,000 music artists across the world with global Shazam top charts. And when I looked into the artist metadata set in particular, I was kind of curious to know how people discover different types of artists across the globe. And so I just wanted to know how, whether we can see diversity or we can see any different kind of patterns. And then in terms of design, I wanted to make it very simple and minimalist approach. So most of the charts I've used is basically a simple chart, except the Dandelion chart I've used, which is a fancy one. And yes, it was a kind of, the data set was pretty big, and it was quite challenging as
well. I think, as we'll see in the build, a lot of your work does have a very simple, clear design. And is that something you like to do across all your Tableau public work and maybe your business work? And where does that inspiration come from?
So yes, basically I'm more into the simple kind of designs, both in my professional as well as my business in Tableau public. And I feel it's a better way to convey a powerful information using simple charts, because what if the audience is not from a data background? So I think that really made me think to go with a simple approach. And I do use a lot of simple charts in my Tableau public quizzes just to leverage them as much as I can. Mm-hmm. And I would give, I was inspired by two people mostly in terms of, simple design. One is Kingsley Bentic from India, and his wishes are, very simple and clean. And another person is Ludovic. He's one of the Iron Viz finalists in 2018. So his list is mostly very simple, and he uses very subtle colors, yet the information and insight which he brings in is very powerful with those simple designs. So that really inspired me a lot.
Great.
Oh, that's great. I'm really curious how you decided on the color palette. We see you starting to work with the different pronouns here. What was that thought process like?
It was kind of tough, or you can say it's a difficult to decide, because I saw both the gender as well as pronoun columns in the artist metadata, and I was just thinking. I even had a conversation with my supervisor, and we were doing a lot of research, because even the audience are familiar with gender equality, not with like they haven't seen any business with dealing with gender pronouns. So I thought it would be a good way and it would be a unique way. And also it is a sensitive topic to cover. So I thought of going with the gender pronoun rather than gender. And in terms of color, so here when I do a bit of analysis, basic analysis, I found that more he, him artists or male artists are discovered across all the country's top chart. So I thought the she, her artists, the gender pronoun she, her artists are kind of underrepresented. That's what I got from the data set. And I just want to highlight them. So I used red, a strawberry red color. So red is mostly used for something alarming. And then to just complement the red, I used yellowish orange and blue to just complement with red for other two artist categories.
Fascinating stuff. Now, here we are seeing the Dandelion chart, Pradeep. Tell us, so that this was your fancy or unusual chart. Tell us a little bit about what this chart is showing and why you decided to use this style as opposed to a different type of chart.
Okay, so I use this fancy chart for two main reasons. One is I think based on artist origin, I think this chart would be better to, because it just branches out from the artist origin and we can see like which artist type is at the top. So I think it's a better way to show that information. And another reason is I wanted to add a little visual touch to my Viz. So I use this kind of fancy chart. In terms of design inspiration, I got inspired by Hisham's Iron Viz in 2019, where he used a balloon chart. That's what he called. He used the technique very well. Like he used a curve line to just connect between the bar and the bubble. So I thought it's really elegant to show that kind of chart with this information.
I'm curious to learn how you built it. What was that process?
So in technical perspective, I use some kind of data scaffolding in Tableau Prep, and so there was one blog from Wendy Shigia. So she actually mentioned, or she wrote a blog about how to draw those curves on maps. So I just used those calculations and worked all those calculations inside Tableau Prep. And then I've taken the result, our final output just with X and Y axis, and then brought it inside Tableau to create those curvy lines.
So it sounds like the Tableau community has given you an incredible sense of inspiration in the past and ideas and helped build your own skills. Is that true?
Yes, definitely. I think Tableau community is a great place filled with a lot of amazing people who are really supportive, and I've learned a lot from them every single day. And so personally, I feel like three people I just want to give shout out to three people. Like they were supporting me from the beginning of my Tableau journey. And they are Kevin Schlerlage, Sarah Bartlett, and Lindsay Betzinda. So they were behind all my success. Like they were giving really constructive feedback to shape up my data visualization skills. And particularly, Kevin is one of my close friends, and he's always my go-to person when I want to do a chit chat or needs any support or help.
Yeah. Amazing. They're wonderful people. I just, on this dot plot, you're about to add a reference line for a particular purpose. In fact, here it comes right now. What's going on with this reference line? Because it's a bit of a hack, but it's a very useful one.
Yes, it is definitely a hack, a simple and neat hack. I'm not sure like who actually invented this hack, but I have seen this hack in few of the Vizes in Tableau Public. And the reason why I've used this reference line is just to have some space for the text label so that labels will not cut off. So it's a simple reference line, and you have to do some, you have to enter some percentage, and then it just dynamically adjusts the chart axis, which will allow you to have the lengthy text labels.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Are there any other kind of tips and tricks like that you've used throughout this 20 minutes?
Yes, I've used few of them, and it was everything was finalized at the final moment. Because when I tried to do the speed practice, I was just missing a lot of time, and then I came up with something like using worksheet titles and captions instead of text boxes. So it saved me a lot of time. And another thing was using the preference file to get my custom colors added. Because whenever I try to type in the hex code, it takes me a lot of time. So I think those saved me quite a lot of time.
That's interesting. I sometimes wonder if some people never realize there is a caption beneath every chart that you can turn on. And I mean, it's even, Tableau even builds a caption automatically, which can be useful in simpler charts, but it's a great place to, get to text quickly. Nice.
Now we're getting into that dashboard layout. Yeah. Pradeep, one of the things that I feel like I've seen, throughout your qualifier viz and your final viz here is a great use of space and padding. How do you decide, how much, I just see you putting in numbers for padding. How do you decide what to do here?
So I don't have any technical approach. It just pops in my mind. So I do use padding a lot in my Tableau public vizes as well as in my professional business dashboards. I think it's adding white spaces give a lot of, it visually adds some feel to the viz, and even the charts will pop out from your viz. And it's mostly like experimenting. I'll just do with padding 10 and then with 50, and then I'll just reiterate until when I feel satisfied.
I think that's fair enough. So it is all about feeling your way to the right answer. I mean, there is no right. Now for the final, you did this rectangular dashboard, sort of fills one screen, and yet for the feeder, we see in the Iron Viz feeder qualification competitions, we see much more long form, which is also what you did for your feeder. Why do you think you choose different formats for the different stages of the competition, or even in your business work? Okay,
so the reason for choosing this rectangular dashboard for Iron Viz final is basically because of the time constraint. Or I cannot do a long form viz in 20 minutes, and so this actually puts me in a pressure to just use right amount of chart and provide right amount of insights in this 20 minutes. So I think this is how we usually do Iron Viz final. So I've used rectangular type of canvas. And when it comes to the feeder viz, I have a lot more time, and in my Iron Viz feeder, I wanted to do a detailed analysis on my favorite show, which is Avatar: The Last Airbender. So I've done a lot of research and added a lot of data, charts, and divided the viz into different sections with different favorite elements of the show. And then I feel a storytelling type of Viz will actually serve the purpose for that scenario. So I've used the long form list for my feeder. The end user, the audience can able to scroll from top to bottom to just have the insights at certain certain amount.
Yeah. I remember thinking, watching your build, that you were going to leave the titles just saying dot plot and bar and map, and thinking, oh, that's not going to win Iron Viz. But fortunately, you added the nice descriptive titles. How many times did you practice this build before you did it in the final?
I've done a dozen of times. Basically like 12 to 15 times. And I was even practicing in front of my supervisor. So she was actually guiding me and she was helping me with a few tips, optimization tips as well. So, and it was quite fun, as well as it was nerve-wracking.
Quite stressful, yes.
Yeah.
Can you explain what the filter and parameter actions are doing here?
Yes, so the filter and parameter actions are the important part of the dashboard, because this dashboard is for everyone from all the parts of the world. So when they want to see how the music discovery is in their country, they can just click on a dot or on the map, and the dashboard just filters out only for that particular country. So we can see, for example, if I select India, I can see how Indians are listening to different types of artists. And so again, it works this way as well. So we can just click on the bar below the Dandelion, and then only the artists from that origin will get filtered for the whole dashboard. So the filter works both ways, and it even works as a combination. We can select an artist's origin and we can select a country, and we'll get the results, the dot plots and even the trim.
I love that. I love being able to do your own exploration. Did you find any interesting, surprising insights when you were just looking through the data?
Yes, I've seen quite a few things, and I've even discovered some new artists like who are already popular, and I was not aware of them. So, for example, so in a broader perspective, we can see blue dots everywhere, which shows he/him artists are popular or dominant across all those countries. But when we see it on artist level in the dot plot, we can see Dua Lipa has the highest number of occurrences in the top charts. Mm-hmm. So that is one interesting insight that I got, and I got to know Dua Lipa is quite popular across the world.
And how did you know when you're building a dashboard, and because you sort of design by feel and knowing a sense of when things are finished, how do you know when you finished a piece of work for Tableau Public, or even in your business work?
In Tableau Public, so when I make a Viz and publish in Tableau Public, I'll try to spend a lot of time on choosing colors, because I'm more into experimenting with colors. So that will take a quite amount of time. And even for this Iron Viz, I spend a quite amount of time for choosing these three colors. I decided the first color was red, and I was just choosing like what goes well with red. And so I was just iterating, and even initially I started the Viz, I created the Viz with black background, And for some reason, I changed it to white background. I don't know. I just felt white is more pleasing and easier on the eyes, maybe. And so that's why I just changed. It just suddenly went like that. And I just changed from black theme to white theme. So it's more of a process of iterating stuff until the last submission day.
Yeah. I also think the white background is an easier choice in the final Vine because there's less formatting to do. If you do a dark background, you have to do a lot more clicks to make that succeed.
It's true.
Yeah.
Well, looks like you're just finishing up here, testing out everything. Were there any mistakes or things that we wouldn't have caught just watching this?
Yes, so there was some kind of technical, errors when I tried to connect the Dandelion with the rest of the charts, because the Dandelion is a different data set and others are just a different main data set. So I try to find a way with parameter action to just connect the artist origin with the artist origin in the main data. So just linking between these two data sets. I was just a bit confused on how to link those two data, and fortunately parameter action helped me.
Yeah, amazing. And I think we're pretty much at the end. In fact, there you go. That's the wrap up. So I guess I was just one question. I'll ask the question before we conclude. Then is, here you are. You made it to an Iron Viz final, right? And you've been a big contributor to the Tableau community and the data fan. What advice would you give to somebody watching who is new in their Tableau journey?
I definitely recommend people to engage in Tableau community via Twitter, LinkedIn, or Slack, whatever it may be, and even participate in community projects like Makeover Monday, Project Health Viz, Iron Viz, and all those stuff. Because I started my journey like that, and it just helped me to come along to this far. And I really hope that that will actually be the case for others as well. And if they can actually contribute and they can publish with us to the Tableau public, ask feedback, iterate. So I just suggest them to contribute to the Tableau community.
Yeah, amazing. How long have you been active in the Tableau community, Pradeep?
So I've started my Tableau public in mid of 2018.
Right.
So it's been like 3.5 years.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah. Well, look, that was the 20-minute build. How did it feel when that 20 minutes ran up? Was it a big relief?
It was a surreal experience because I've not created a viz in just 20 minutes, but I've learned a lot of things, like how to optimize viz basically, and how to create a viz under a lot of pressure, and it was quite fun as well.
Good. Well, look, we loved seeing what you built in the final. We loved hearing the story you told, and this has been amazing. I just really enjoy, Keshia and I and the audience, we really enjoy getting this deeper insight into the decisions you made and the inspirations you took. So before we say thanks and goodbye, where can people find you?
They can connect me on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Tableau Public.
All right. And we'll put links somewhere on the screen. So go and connect with Pradeep on whichever social media channel you choose. All right. Well, look, Pradeep, thank you so much for being part of the If Data Could Talk Iron Viz series. Keshia, it's always great to host these with you. Thank you for joining us at a very early time. And Pradeep, we'll see you in the community in the next few months. And everybody, we'll see you on the Iron Viz trail towards the next conference. Have a great day. Bye.